Hi everyone, welcome to Borderless Heritage, where cultures collide and connections thrive. I'm Maite, and I came from Mexico. We are in Germany doing our master's in heritage studies and came from conservation and architecture backgrounds. In this episode, we will discuss just a tiny part of a vast topic food. And to shrink it up, let's focus on spices. Why on spices? Well, let me give you a little background. When I started to live out of my parents' home and I started to eat alone, I began to replicate my home recipes, as many people probably do. With a mixture of nostalgia, playing my abuelita's boleros, I started to assemble my first kitchen spicy rack. And I discovered that my role in the kitchen during my childhood was the last part of the hierarchy of that kitchen. Unfortunately, during this commis chef training, I did not learn all the good tricks. It took me a lot of phone calls back home to get a little more decent. However, there is always a niche for improvement. So in 2018, I got the chance to read a book called Salt, Fat, Acid, Heat by Nazamin Nosrat, an Iranian American chef. She put in words all this logical knowledge of taste that my family had tried to explain to me, and I love it. The premise of the book is that these four elements salt, fat, acid, and heat can make or break a dish. Now she refers to salt as spices in general, but it takes salt as the basis of them. Apart from salt, the rest of the spices that we use in your dishes can tell a lot about our culture and our traditions. So, this is why I will try to present to you my perspective of Mexican cuisine, and I would love to hear my fellow comments. And I will start with a must at home. So the one is about to get done or gone at home, the panic starts. It's the one that comes to your mind when you're having some new dish and you're tasting it like, this could be better if I could put some. And for me, of course, it's chili. I didn't realize how important it was until I sneaked my own bottle of salsa for my popcorn into the cinemas here in Germany, I must confess. And Chile has a funny name situation in South America. There's a country called Chile, but they call the chili by the name ají. Why? I wouldn't know. Chilean people might know. People always make the assumption that I can eat a lot of chilies, and it might be true, but I have the strongest experience with Korean and Indian food. People respect. I was crying, but keep eating, And this is the relationship that exists with Chile. For Mexicans, it makes us suffer, but we want more. So, what will be your essential spice?
Okay, yeah, started now. And the second one, actually something I want to share is not really, general we will call spice, but really important, maybe we should call ingredients. And back home, it's the soybean sauce. I think every family, not only Taiwanese people, but also Chinese people, we all need soybean sauce, a bottle of soybean sauce at home. And if you want, normally I don't, but if you want, you can put it in everything. It will change your dish and makes another dish out of your basic dish.
Yeah, when you said that there's always that spice that everyone starts running when it's starting to finish back home, I think one that is actually quite common in Latin America, which is achote, which basically is a seed that comes from a shrub. And basically people dry it and you can use it as a dry spice like a powder, or you can use it as a paste. And both work like similar, but depends on what you want to do. For example, the paste, normally you marinate, especially pork. It's like you add just onions, a little bit of vinegar and achote, and then you leave it there for a couple of hours. You can put it on the grill, you can put it on the pan, and it's gonna taste amazing. It's gonna get like this tender flavor to it. And then, of course, you have the versions of the supermarket that everyone is going to go buy it when it's running out in their kitchens. But then you have the homemade ones, the ones that the granny made, so that you go to a place that is not in the main city, it's not in the capital. But then you go to that place and they have this more natural one. And if the taste from the one in the supermarket was a good kick for the food, the one that is homemade is another experience. So yeah, it's like a reddish color, so it's gonna give like this pinky color to your meat, and it's like quite essential in many dishes.
In Iranian food, basically every Iranian food, or let's say most Iranian foods, process start with frying onions with turmeric, right? Curcuma, turmeric, turmeric, right? I don't know why I just remember the German name curcuma, but I cannot remember the English name. Yeah, curcuma or turmeric, right? With salt. So we fry this ingredient, then we add meat or chicken or other things. As much as you have more onions, this mixture of onions, you have a better taste food in general, right?
So you also fry like salt with it, right?
Yes, we add salt and turmeric with onion. And we add it to the soup, to everything.
Thanks to Valeria, she was telling us about the MSG.
MSG.
Yeah, I couldn't catch the name. That enhances the flavor in a cheating way. Now I know why I love all this fried.
Yeah. Then, speaking of spices, we have this joke in my country that our favorite spice is actually oil. Because we like to fry everything, so I can relate with that feeling.
Do you also have animal oil?
Yeah.
You use it in cooking?
Yeah, and especially there is a name for the pork fat.
Another question for you, Nilu. Do you use pork oil, or you have another thing to for as animal fats? But because in our country we usually just use pork.
Yeah, we eat a lot of pork.
So I'm just it's just coming to my mind.
No. I doubt if you can find pork in the country actually, but I think there are some special shops related to some specific areas, but no, you cannot find pork oil and pork as a meat in general.
But which kind of animal fats do you use?
I think sheep.
Okay.
Yeah.
But usually sheep have this really strong, weird taste.
Yes.
It's affect the oil making it.
For us, pork fat is very characteristic. My father would say if he can recognize if you fry the beans with the proper pork oil, or you were cheating and you give him vegetable oil.
Yeah. And fry beans with pork with the pork fat is amazing.
Well, I checked it. Yeah, it's made by sheep or cow. Yeah.
I think Greece or somewhere they also have sheep oil, but it's not for food. It's actually lotion thing.
Really?
Yeah. If I have the right memory, but it might be wrong.
In barbecue, do you use pork mostly, or do you use also sheep and cow?
For barbecues, it's more cow.
Cow. Yeah.
We use everything.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm thinking, and it's typically pork or cow or beef.
Chicken
or chicken.
Exactly.
Or chicken.
If you are going to the shop and you say, I would prefer to use the budget for alcohol, let's have chicken and sausages.
Sausages. Yeah.
It's based on the regions you live in Iran. You might use a specific kind of meat more. In my region, we usually use sheep and chicken. In other parts, they mostly use goat. Yeah, or in some other parts they use more cow. So it depends on the city maybe that you live.
Do you have camel?
Yeah,
You do?
But not that much. I mean, it's not that regular. I know that once my mom bought camel meat, and because we really didn't like it, she didn't tell us. She was like, "Yeah, it's a new mixture with the meat. Don't mind. You just eat." And then when we ate it, she was like, "Yeah, it was camel."
She was enjoying
Yeah.
it.
Did you enjoy it? How was it taste? I was like,
It's amazing how mom's humor is universal, because in my country it's not common to eat rabbit, although in Germany it is apparently quite common. But once we were having dinner, we thought it was chicken. And she told us, like, how was the chicken? Amazing, Mom, it was really good. Ah, but it was a rabbit. I'm like, no! I used to have
Oh
a
my
rabbit as a
God,
pet when I was a kid.
why?
Exactly. Mom's
Why?
sense of humor.
yeah, I know. It's really weird that they do the same in all cultures, like different countries.
They like to trick kids.
It never happened to you?
I mean, I think my mom did something similar, but like I think she's not that creative. Yeah, sorry, mom. Or she's or at least she didn't buy steak and like cook it as a chicken soup and like
Oh.
do you feel? No, it never happened.
She was real. She was honest.
Yeah, she's honest.
They are a lot of material for another episode. They should. So, and continuing with a spicy topic, the next one could be a beloved foreigner. Why? Because the cuisine is a great place to analyze the passing trading routes, colonialism, migration, and merging of cultures. When I was starting assemble this spicy rack that I was telling you about, I have to replicate it now that I moved to Germany, and I realized that I need a basic one for us, that is cumin. Cumin is a seed that comes from a plant. It is very used in a lot of dishes in Mexico. And this is a very small seed, about 5 millimeters long, brown in color, and very aromatic. And when I went to the shop to get it, I bought the one that says cumin, like, go to the translation, cumin is cumin, so everything was well, until I opened it. And then I smell it. The smell was very unfamiliar. I was like, what is this? What is this? Then I realized there are two kinds of cumins here in Germany. The Kreuzkümmel, and this is the good one. And the cumin, that is that thing that I don't know what it is. Maybe it could be used for another kind of recipes that I don't know, and I will explore later in life, hopefully. But for now, I want my cumin, the Kreuzkümmel, which made me now wondering where this one came from. So I Googled it, of course, and it's actually native from Egypt and the Mediterranean region, and it's used for marinades. As we were also saying, we like to make stews of pork, beef, chicken, and it's arrived to Mexico through the Canary Islands during the Spanish colonization. So it's how it enters there. Like, this is the people that we end up having coming from. It's very tasty, so what can I say?
Well, speaking of colonization, and things that the Spaniards brought to America due to colonization, I think about ginger. That apparently it went around all over the places. First was the Portuguese that introduced it to Africa, and then the Spaniards took it to America. So it's amazing because nowadays maybe in the continent we related a lot with Asian food, especially Korean food. Now that it has become very popular. But then it's also part of everyday life, and you don't think about it that it is actually something that it was introduced so long ago. And at least in my country, we have this ginger juice that apparently became quite popular in the Atlantic coast. And then it's something kind of traditional, that is considered traditional nowadays, although it was not native from the country. Then when you're sick, we tend to use all these things that are typically teas in other countries. And then we have a tea of ginger and lemon. So when you feel sick or you have a sore throat, you drink that. And then during Christmas, we have this, it's not because of Christmas itself, but it's because of the Virgin Mary. There is this tradition around her conception time that I'm not quite sure, that is at the beginning of December.
She's looking at me. I'm Catholic. She's like,
Yeah,
she might know. She might know. I'm the
to
worst
find-
Catholic ever. But keep going. Maybe you can win.
But yeah, we have one candy called gofio that is quite local actually. And the kick of that candy, they do it with some powder called pinolillo, which is another story, another spice, which is a juice that comes from a tree that has a very big fruit and very round and tough. And if you get kicked with that fruit, you might die.
No.
So then it's the powder of that fruit with the kick of the ginger, and they make this sweet that is called gofio, that is like a cookie, but a very sweet cookie and very concentrated cookie. And it's something that it takes kind of a lot of effort to do. So I believe that's why it's only for Christmas time and during that process. Okay, in Nicaragua, at the beginning of December, they sing to Virgin Mary. And they go to different houses that they have these altars for Virgin Mary, and they give you candies. One of those candies is that gofio. And I didn't know that the kick of that candy, what makes it a little bit spicy, is the ginger.
Holding myself a lot to make not any joke about it. You know, a cookie, the Virgin Mary.
The Virgin Mary a cookie.
I don't want to get banned, you know?
Catholics don't cancel us.
But that's very interesting.
No idea what you're talking about, but maybe later you can share it with us, like privately. Okay, the only spice that comes to my mind maybe is saffron, which is an important part of Iranian culture. We use saffron in many things, like in tea and with rice. I think you also use it in Mexico, like with rice, right? And also in Nicaragua. Right?
Yeah.
But though saffron is also an expensive spice in Iran as well, I had no idea that it can be this much valuable in other countries. Like, it seems like you can even buy it as a wedding gift.
And it's incredible that even though for you it's local, it's also expensive for you.
Yeah, it's not a cheap spice.
To other countries.
Oh, yeah, maybe. Yeah, right?
Transportation
Yeah.
makes a
Yeah.
lot of-
Yeah.
I know this probably gonna be another topic for later, that using food as medicine. But I was remembering how we met. Like you were having some like saffron sticky thing. It looks like a lollipop. That she was putting inside of water, like hot water as a tea, and she was just staring, like drinking her saffron fancy tea. And I'm like, why are you eating that? And she was like, oh, because I'm about to have fish. And in her mind, it was very logic. Like, of course.
So common,
So
duh!
come on, we're having fish to eat today, so I might have my saffron tea. And I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, that was the point that I tried to explain the definition of cold and warm nature of the food. So yeah, I had nabot. We call it nabot, and we use it with tea to balance the cold and warm in our body.
I'm thinking because actually, even though I don't eat spicy food, but chili is still really important ingredient in Chinese cooking. But actually, until I think it didn't came to China until like 16th or 17th century, because they arrived Europe first from Mexico. Actually, I think the original like growing chili place is Mexico, and then they go to Europe, and from Turkey it goes to China, and then Chinese people love it. They really love it, especially the region of Sichuan. Because like the weather is like super humid there, so people eat spicy food to remove the humidity inside of their body. And before chili exists, like they use like the pepper. That's why I'm like keeping thinking about pepper and like, oh, it's not the word. I'm pretty sure, but yeah, it's chili. And because chili is much more spicy than the pepper they have, they just love chili. I'm sorry. And even a friend from like close to that region, once upon a time, she's like, we're eating together, and she like passed me a dish and like, oh, it's not spicy at all. You should try it. It's super good. I'm like, because personally, I don't eat spicy food. So I don't believe those who can eat spicy foods told me it's not spicy. I'm like, so I asked her like, so what's that dish? Like she's okay, so just they cook chili with chili. I'm like, how can it not be spicy? You're just like you're cheating me, right? She said no, it's not spicy, and the other friend's like, don't believe her, it's spicy. I'm like, yeah, I know because she eats spicy. I don't believe who eats spicy say it's not spicy because their tongue is dead. I'm sorry.
Of course, it's numb. We don't feel it anymore. But funny that you mentioned, because I was googling about the topic for this, and I did a little of research that there is a scale for measuring this spiciness of the chilies, and it's called Scoville scale. And I thought maybe our chilies will be like in a like good ranking in this scale. Yeah, but apparently the number one chili is called Californian chili.
What? Well, technically, California used to be Mexico.
If you put it that way. Yeah, but apparently there is many areas in the world that chili is cultivated, and of course appear in this ranking of spiciness.
Oh.
Yeah, so if someone wants to know more, is this a scale that we will provide later in our social media. Okay. Well, I'm very glad to hear that we are merging our cultures with the food, and I did also remember a story from a friend from India that we lived together, and she was telling me that the biggest interest during their colonization was cinnamon. And I'm like, why cinnamon? And she said, like, I don't know, even though, because we are not using that one very much, but it was like the main goal at the moment of the trading somehow. And I was now thinking that I actually put cinnamon in my coffee. And it's so common for Mexico to put some cinnamon in the coffee that when you go to the market shop, they will sell the grind coffee already with the cinnamon grind on it.
But I think that's also happened in Egypt.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Cinnamon and cardamom?
Yeah, cardamom.
I saw she was like, oh, I know the other one. I was like, yeah.
Yeah, that's true. That's
I couldn't remember the word. I was going to Google it, but yeah, thanks. Cardamom. Yeah. We also use cardamom for tea, but also with coffee, it's really nice.
Yeah, sometimes we have like tea with cinnamon and cardamom. Yeah, it gives like an extra kick that is really good.
Yeah.
I mean, they say the cinnamon is really good for your blood circulation and all of that. So if you're in your period, girls, cinnamon is your friend.
Also, we use cumin. Also, we use cumin for period.
The fruits you shared last time, the red, what's the name? We actually, like when you're having period,
Jujube.
jujube. Like we have like with red sugar, it's you can warm you up and help you to create blood.
Because it's red. Red sugar? What is red sugar?
A candy for period time.
And it's made from that red sugar and jujube.
Yeah, and it can make it into tea, but it's like a candy put in with hot water.
That's convenient.
Oh yeah. But I think now it's super warm. I don't know if you want it because it will warm you up. The idea is to warm you up. Like when you're like girls having period, actually in Chinese medicine like topic, like you're cold, like you're weak, so you need something to warm you up.
Yeah, I relate to you.
Yeah.
These guys don't.
We were having a conversation before this that apparently in other parts of the world, that is not America, foods are defined to be cold and warm by default. By nature.
Yeah, but I don't think that Maite would let us to talk about it in this episode.
Hold the idea, hold the thoughts, please, because it is gonna be more, and we're gonna nourish our knowledge on that topic later. So I want to wrap these nice talks that we have today with a verse from Spanish singer Serrat, mom's favorite. The verse says, y un manjar puede ser cualquier bocado, si el horizonte es luz y el rumbo un beso. Which translates to English, any bite can be a delicacy, if the horizon is light and the heading a kiss. Happy cooking! We really hope that you enjoyed this episode. And if you want to learn more about how different cultures interact and how we interpreted life through other people's lenses, we invite you to listen to our next episodes and join us on our social media to share your experiences. Until next time!